Right. Today, Zach is going to be down at the Vancouver Farmers Market, and I am going to be doing some soap cutting and also some soap making for some of our essentials and fan favorite collection, and then also just beveling soap and doing some stuff around the studio. So I thought I'd take you along and show you around. The first step that I need to do before I can make soap is to steam the tops of the soap Zach made on Wednesday, and then I need to wash the molds, cut these, and um, then prep oil. So I'll take you along for that ride. So to steam the soap, we just have this little, I don't know what brand it is. I don't think it really matters. Steamer that we got from Target a long time ago. It was super inexpensive, and you basically just run the clothing steamer over the soap, and it helps make everything look nice and shiny. You do this and then you let it sit and dry for just a little bit. It takes like a minute or two, not super long, but you can see, especially on some of these ones with the much more vivid bright colors, it really makes those colors shine. Also, like on this darker soap here, this Heretic soap, it helps get rid of some of the soda ash that may have formed, which soda ash is not a huge deal. It's more of a cosmetic thing than anything else, but this just makes it look nice and shiny and perfect, which is what we are looking for. Some of the areas take a little more work than others, but that's okay. We do have 2 slabs of the Heretic soap here. This is the one that we have made in the past, just a 12 bar loaf, and so we know it does really well. So we wanted to make a couple batches of that. This whole collection that I am cutting today is a collaboration collection with several vendors from the Vancouver Farmers Market, which was super fun. We paired with some of our friends there and either used an ingredient, something that they make or that they grow. So for example, the Heretic one over here, they make yerba mate, and so we use tea as the liquid for the soap making process. The pink one here is for one of our friends who has a farm, and she grew loofah last year, and she gave us one of those. So actually the bottom layer has loofahs in it, crushed up. So it's nice and exfoliating, so that's super fun. This one back here is one of our woodworking friends, Davisville Woodwork. They do like cutting boards and things like that. So we didn't use any of like wood shavings or anything in that one, but Lori, the owner, loves whiskey, so this one is old-fashioned inspired. The one back here is for our friends who have a taco stand at the farmers market, so we wanted to do something inspired by their agua frescas that they make. So this is a mango coconut agua fresca soap, so super excited for that one. And then this last one up here, our friend does like hot sauce and like Bloody Mary type things, and so we wanted to do one inspired by that, and so this one is cilantro cucumber, I think. I'll have to double check on that, but super fun collection, super colorful. And then we have one other one that I made the other day as well. All right, so I have sliced up the soap I showed you just a little while ago, and now I am beveling our soap that needs to be steamed and labeled. Some of these ones are part of our Citrus in July collection. This pink one here is just a little capsule collection. It's rose quartz, which if you've been around for a little while, you are familiar with this. And then that brown one there is our bergamot black tea, which we are adjusting the recipe just a little bit, but I will have a full video on that, so stay tuned. My goal is to get the remainder of these soaps beveled and labeled, along with these ones here, and then our Auto Oat Bar and the few Pleather Daddy that are up there. We also have some Pink Pony Club, some Morning Wood, some Orange Breeze, more Pleather Daddy Vinyl Vibe, and Lumberjill. And I want to get all of those beveled because I do need to make some more bergamot black tea and Pink Pony Club, which we use our soap bevels in that, and I didn't have enough. Our soap bevels we just put into this gigantic 5-gallon bucket from Brambleberry, and then when we are ready to make our soap, we use those. Alright, so after like 5 hours of making soap shreds, steaming the soap, and all of that, I finally have my station set up to do 4 batches of Pink Pony Club soap, which is our sparkling raspberry soap that we incorporate some of our soap shreds in, and then also 2 batches of our bergamot black tea, but this is version 2.0, which is going to be our Spill the Tea soap, which matches our new best-selling candle Spill the Tea. So we'll get to making that soap now. Here is my kind of like chaotic setup for mass producing soap instead of just like single batches that I usually film all nice and pretty in the soap filming area. All right, so we are going to get our Pink Pony Club soap started here first. And you can see I have 6 things of oil on my prepped work table. I sanitized this work table with rubbing alcohol and sanitized all the utensils and all that kind of stuff. This is kind of the behind the scenes that you don't get to see, like I mentioned earlier in the video. And it's kind of like our super high volume production space. We have a rolling table. They actually both roll, but we have a rolling table on the left there that I have the slabs and one of the cambros of oil on. And I am just doing some bulk making of 2 of our scents. This first one, like I said, is Pink Pony Club. So I have pre-portioned off
into the slabs there about 12 ounces of these soap shreds. And these soap shreds I get from when I bevel soap, or when Zac bevels soap, because we bevel all of the edges of our soap. They make it look nice and polished, but also it gives it a better hand feel. If you've ever used soap kind of fresh out of the package that just was cut, sometimes the edges can be a little sharp and you kind of have to work them down and wear them down. This way you don't have to do that because it just is nice and softened. We just use a normal vegetable peeler. You'll have seen that earlier in this video because I beveled a ton of soap before I made this because I needed a ton of soap shreds. I was making 6 slabs of soap and each slab needed 12 ounces of soap. So I basically needed to bevel enough soap for all of that. We like to do this because it reduces waste, soap waste. We do donate a large portion of the soap scraps that we can't utilize to Eco Soap Bank, which is a great organization that we have been supporting for like 2 years now, I think. But then we also like to reuse our soap shreds because it makes a fun, nice confetti soap. A lot of soap companies make a confetti soap, so I'm sure you've seen that before if you've watched other people make soap videos or gone to a farmer's market. It's not anything we came up with, but we do like to pair our soap shreds with 2 of our most common soap fragrances. So Pink Pony Club is hands down our best seller in the candle form and in the soap form. It's a lovely sparkling raspberry scent from one of our local suppliers, Shea Company, and it performs beautifully in soap. It keeps the soap nice and fragrant but not overpowering, and doesn't accelerate, doesn't do any of those nasty things that sometimes sweeter, kind of more floral scents do in cold process soap. But it also performs lovely in candles, at least in soy candles, because that's what we make as well. It is our best-selling candle, that one, and one we do with a tea company in downtown Vancouver, Dandelion Tea House. Both of those candles are our best sellers, bar none. Pink Pony Club is an award-winning candle as well. We won an award at our soap conference that we went to in May. The Handcrafted Soap Guild, we won Best Candle. I think it was a audience voted, or like everyone that attended the conference got to vote, and we won that competition. So it was super exciting. Our award actually just arrived in the mail 2 days ago, I think, and I'll put a picture up on one of the corners here so you can see that. We were super excited to win. Last year we did put in some soap and candles. We didn't win, unfortunately, but we were happy to win this year. It was super nice. So I have portioned off half of this soap batter into each of these molds here. I just eyeballed it. This is a soap we make all the time, so often that I know kind of how high the soap should be in the molds. And I am just stirring in with the scraper here to get those soap shreds nice and distributed throughout the whole entire soap. This serves 2 purposes. One, to make sure it has a nice kind of even look, but also sometimes confetti soap has air pockets that happen when soap shreds kind of clump together. So this is one way to prevent that. You stir it in the mold. Sometimes we'll stir it directly in the pot and then pour everything into that mold as well. So just as kind of personal preference. If I'm making like a single batch, I will normally just stir all the shreds in the container and not worry about stirring it in the molds here. Once that is all in there, I will just repeat the process with the top layer. When we make our Pink Pony soap, at least currently, we only do the bottom layer with the soap shreds, and then the top layer is just the normal soap with no shreds in it, but it's the same color, at least base color with the rose clay, and then we add in some additional pink and blitz that up, same fragrance, all that kind of stuff. I will say that I kind of did an oopsie when I was making this soap as well, not this specific batch, but the next 2 slabs that I made, because I made 4 slabs of this, and I forgot to put in the fragrance oil in the top layer of the second batch that I made. So I ended up stirring in fragrance into the whole entire slab. I put everything back in the Cambro first, so it was kind of a pain in the butt. But then I stirred in that fragrance oil. So the second batch of this is actually all one pink color, and I kind of like it a little more. Initially, when we did this, we were wanting to differentiate the, kind of make it look a little nicer, look a little more snazzy, so we were doing the layered effect. So we'll see if we continue with the layered effect or if we'll do the all one color effect. Now that the soap is to a light trace and I have the fragrance oil in, not blended in yet though, I will go back to the slabs and I will dust them with some nice hot pink mica. This is just going to make a lovely pink line in the middle of our soap, which you couldn't have a pink Pony Club soap without having all of the pink in every layer of the process. So this was my way of getting in some extra pink. And this pink is a super pretty one. I think this might have come from Candle Science, if I'm not mistaken. I really always wish I did a better job of remembering the micas that I used. But actually that container looked like brambleberry, so it might be a brambleberry container. It's a pretty pink color that we love. I also have a bad habit of just mixing up micas and putting them back in the containers, which I'm sure Zac loves so much. One thing with this pink mica is that it was a real booger to clean up. You can see I tried to wipe it off the stainless steel workbench there and it just smeared everywhere, and that was just the mica, and now I have it all over my apron as well. And I keep finding pink mica when I'm wiping down the counter or doing whatever, and it looks clean. The countertop looks clean. It's been wiped down several times since this, but it just keeps showing up everywhere. We will then just blitz up that fragrance oil in there until it is well incorporated. It's already to a trace, so we don't need to worry about getting the soap to a full trace there. I'll then scrape off the blender stick. Normally I would rinse this off between soap batches, but since I'm making the same soap so quickly after this one, I just stuck it in the oil that I will be making into the second batch of Pink Pony Club soap, because the fragrance is going to be the same, the color is going to be the same, and it's not going to be sitting long enough for it to get chunky and show up in the next batch of soap. Then I will use my scraper to break the fall of the soap batter. The bottom layer is pretty well set up, but the top is pretty runny, and sometimes that can cause some hinkiness to happen. It might cause the soap to kind of bow down, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted a nice clean line, or as clean as possible. Some of the shreds stick up a little bit, but that adds a really cool effect in my opinion. The other thing is, sometimes when you do a mica line, if the mica is not like hydrated enough and you pour soap batter over the top, it'll puff up, and that's just kind of annoying, and you get mica everywhere. And as previously discussed, I had pink mica everywhere when I was making this soap. And this was a pretty tidy soaping session for me, at least. I don't have stuff kind of scattered all over the place. It's all pretty well contained. All right, and then the final step is to do a top design. I was trying to come up with a new top design for this soap because I always like to kind of be messing with things and fine-tuning things. So for this batch, I am dusting the top with that pink mica. It's really hard to see on camera because it's like pink overload happening. And then I will get a chopstick and do some just like crazy little swizzles here to distribute that pink mica and also blend it in a little bit with the soap. Sometimes if you do mica on the top of soap and it's just sitting there, it rubs off and it gets all over the place. So if you're incorporating it a little more with a chopstick or a spoon swoop or something, it helps prevent that. We also have found that some of the redder hued micas stain a little bit, and it must be that there's like iron oxide or something in red mica that is just a little more sticky than normal. This happens a lot in our Vinyl Vibes soap that we use, I have noticed, and I did not want that to happen. All right, so we're going to flash forward a little bit here, and I am now making our Spill the Tea soap. So this was previously called Bergamot Black Tea, which is what the fragrance oil is, and it is one of our best-selling soaps for sure. We use some cardamom black tea in our lye water, which is why the lye water that I'm pouring in is so dark brown, because I steep the tea in it while the lye water is cooling. It adds a nice lovely brown color to the soap. It's very rich looking. It also adds a different fragrance than just an unscented soap bar, a nice kind of earthy scent, which I love. We then add in our fragrance to this, so it does adjust the fragrance ever so slightly. We did, and this is the second batch we've done it on, adjust the fragrance blend a little bit to match our Spill the Tea candle, which is one of our other best-selling candles, and that's the candle I was mentioning earlier on in the video. That's a collaboration with Dandelion Tea House. That fragrance blend is a custom one that I made, and it is some bergamot black tea, so this fragrance oil, and then I added in some amber and also some cardamom. Candle Science did this really cool thing recently where they have blending elements, so they're single note fragrance oils. So they have like vanilla, baking spice. I guess that's not necessarily a single note. They have some other like planty, florally ones like jasmine and basil, but they have a cardamom one. And cardamom is one of our most requested candle scents that we have. We used to have a cardamom and anise candle, and Candle Science did discontinue that fragrance oil, so we're a little salty about that. And when I was trying to come up with a replacement for that for the holidays, I came up with this blend, and we were approached by Dandelion Tea House, and they asked if we wanted to do a candle with them, and it was like the perfect, like, the universe was saying all of these things all at once. And it is now one of our best-selling candles. It's one of my favorite candles that we make, and I did blend all of the scents that we sell, so I'm partial to all of them, but this one and Pacific Northwest Nights are my two most favorite. that was a long ramble, but the point was that we can use that fragrance blend in our soap. And so we have started transitioning our normal bergamot black tea to the Spill the Tea blend, and it is so delightful. We haven't actually used it in the shower yet or the sink because it keeps selling out. So I'm going to have to snag a bar of this batch when it is ready here in like 2 weeks' time. I did want to differentiate this design from our old design, which usually had an orange mica line in between the bottom and top layers. So instead of that, I brought out the yellow mica to kind of embody the yellow from a dandelion for Dandelion Tea House, so that we knew this was the new scent, because the color basically stays the exact same. It stays this nice kind of lovely brownish color. And so that's kind of hard to customize, but I went in with that bright yellow and that shows up beautifully. I was a little worried that it turned kind of a weird greenish kind of zombie color, but it did not do that, thankfully. We will then blitz up the top layer of soap, same as before, so I'm going to spare you that. And the only difference with this is that there is not soap shreds in this top layer, much like the Pink Pony Club soap. I will say the heat of like summer has definitely been messing with how quickly things are setting up, so that's a little annoying. We will portion this off half and half between these two layers, and it is just an eyeball. We're not weighing this or anything like that, but again, this is a soap that we make all of the time, so we're pretty familiar with where it needs to fall in the slab there. This is the first time I had been using this scent as well, this fragrance blend, so I was being a little cautious and under blending just a little bit because I didn't want it to accelerate and mess up the design or anything like that. Thankfully, it did not accelerate. It didn't rice. I knew like 50% of the fragrance wasn't going to do that, but the other fragrance, I did not know how that worked. And while it says it was well behaving on the website, you never know. Candle Science is a trusted supplier for us. Same with like Brambleberry or Wholesale Supplier, places like that. But I always like to have firsthand experience to know, is this actually going to accelerate or how's it going to perform? For the top, I went in with some more of that yellow mica, just a little bit. I didn't want to do like a whole heavy, like solid mica on the top, kind of like our Lumberjack soap or our Pleather Daddy soap or some of those other soaps. But I wanted to have some of that yellow color on the top. So this is a pretty like light smattering. And then I'm going in with my chopstick and I'm doing some just like front to back swoops with that to get that color kind of transferred across the whole top. Then I'll clean up the edges, and I decided that I wanted to feather the top. This was all kind of off the cuff, so I'm just going in and kind of letting the soap tell me how it wants to look. This is kind of hard to see on the camera as well because of this angle, but it does look really cool in person. Also, it hydrated that mica and attached it to the soap batter enough that the yellow doesn't rub off, which was the other thing I was trying to accomplish. We will then do this to the second layer as well. And then the last step that I'm going to do to kind of match the jars of our Spill the Tea candle, and I'll put the picture up on the screen here, they're in the chameleon jars from Candle Science, which we are obsessed with, is to sprinkle on a little bit of holographic eco glitter. You definitely can't see this on the camera, but in person it definitely pops behind that dark brown and yellow background. But that is it. That was a day in the studio with me while Zac was at the farmer's market. Thank you so much for watching this much longer video than normal. I really appreciate it. I also appreciate all of our subscribers. They get soaps, candles, bath bombs each and every month from us. We really appreciate them and their support, and they get goodies from us at the beginning of each month from our latest and greatest collection. If you want to join this list of amazing people, check out our website and the subscription tab for more details on that. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, comment down below your favorite candle scent, also subscribe to the channel so you get notified when we release new videos. Thanks. Bye.